He might not be from Krypton, but he's heads above the rest. His knowledge can't be questioned. You can put it to the test. So if you want to hear the truth and have nowhere else to go, I'll give you the solution. Just tune into his show and just kneel before Zod. Kneel before Zod. Kneel before Zod. Kneel before Zod.
And welcome back, everybody, to the channel. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money-taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying villain in all of YouTube, Mr. Zod. Welcome, everybody, and tonight is a special night because I have it's almost like a two-parter for my interviews. This person I have on right now, this man right here, was the second of two people to ever give me my first interview on YouTube. And I'll never forget that day, because that was the day where we found out that he has an obsession with tomato murder and tomato violence. And that's when I started the hashtag Tomatoes Lives Matter, because this man has been the instrument of many tomato downfalls. No, this is my good friend, my good buddy, the rookie critic. It's so glad to have you on here, rookie. It's been a long time. We were just talking about this off air. I've said I've got to get you onto my channel for such a long time now, and we've talked back and forth. And I'm like, yeah, you're gonna set the date, and then you and me get busy, and finally we connected. And here we are, and I'm super excited. How are you doing tonight, rookie?
That was one sexy-ass intro, my friend. Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
Yes. Actually, Stone Loki made me that intro, and Gary did the music for it. It was great. So I had two wonderful people that helped construct that. Kat says, she goes, tomato. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, Rookie Critic makes great films. He's done some great little film bits. He's done some I don't know if they're like hybrid Star Wars things.
Do you want me to say what the tomato origin is, essentially?
Yes. Tell them the origin of the tomato story. This is great.
So let me take you guys back. You guys remember when Brie Larson was getting pretty popular with Captain Marvel coming out back in the day, and Rotten Tomatoes, the website, the review site or whatever, was being a little iffy at the time. It was like hiding some want to see scores, and it was like letting a bunch of positive bots say things, but they, any negative ones they'd say are trolls or bots and all these horrible things and review bombing and whatever, just being really ridiculous for a while. So I was like, it's kind of weird how these Rotten Tomatoes are being kind of weird. Has anybody ever done anything with tomatoes? And looked up tomatoes on YouTube, and no, there's been nothing. I was looking for a tomato slaughter essentially, and there was just some getting squished by feet a little, and I'm like, this is dumb. Okay, let's put some out there and make a little story with it. So entered the stop motion tomatoes, and they pretty much, the tomatoes, the physical ones, praise Brie Larson as their goddess and ruler. All hail Brie Larson is what they would say essentially, and they just make fools of themselves with it. And now it's evolved into their own little tomato verse that I have now, where I kind of I parody things, and the whole Brie Larson thing is not even really essential, but they'll, instead of saying "oh my god," they'll say "my Brie Larson" or something. That's the only tie. Other than that, it's just some funny stuff. I parodied Game of Thrones by calling it Game of Tomatoes, and instead of the White Walkers, they fight the Skywalkers, and I had some Anakin and Luke action figures that attack them, which become irrelevant because it's just like what Game of Thrones did. And it's just I'm doing Tomato Wars now, or that is kind of parodying Star Wars a little bit, but just in the first episode, the rest is kind of just more of a journey. And episode 2 is, it's pretty much the Fellowship of Tomatoes by this point. but it's going. It's a bitch to edit, but I've learned a lot about stop motion along the way, and so that is the origin. Oh, and I guess everybody's favorite part at the end of each tomato bit, I usually end up going on a montage of slaughtering them in various ways. So I'll squish them, I'll drown them, I'll bury them, I'll freeze them and smash them, I'll burn them. Just all these different ways to destroy them, stab them with multiple objects, slice them up in different ways, pour them in chocolate and squish them and make little. And when they have little voices voiced by people from other YouTubers, it makes it all the better because like, no, mommy, don't kill us, and they're getting killed. So don't kill us. The evil humans are destroying our race. The age of men is over. The time of the tomatoes have come. It's pretty much the gist. I'd start parroting other things and just treat them like, oh, they think they're just this funny little universe.
Which this is my question I've always had, because you put a lot of work into those videos, which, by the way, I wanted to say, hey, Coffee, it's good to finally have you. I know it's like really early. Jan, Kat, Tina, Selena, Justice for Depp, Stone Cold Jeremy, Elizabeth, Megan. Oh, did I miss anyone? Jamie Vick. Hey, Jamie Vick. Gary North, my neck is not snapped. It is fine and well. Yeah, I think I got everyone good. So I'd like to say hi. D, welcome. Yes. So you had started with doing this, but did you do films first, or was the YouTube thing first, or like how did you come about with forming your channel?
Okay, so it actually kind of came together. So after high school, growing up and everything, I've liked movies, but I never was super into them. Like they were never a big part of my life. But when I got a little older and I got Netflix and everything, and just I was figuring out what I want to do with my life, I was like, what career would I actually want that I'll be happy with? And science, I liked science stuff, but I don't want to have a career in it. That's more of a fun hobby, looking up stuff. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I freaking love movies. I want to make a story. I want to make something happen. When I was younger, I would try to write my own Star Wars stuff, which are ridiculous nonsense crap. But it's like that's where the idea stuff started from. And then eventually I'm like, you know what? But I want to make it so you can see it. So eventually I took an intro to cinema class at college. Like I think this was around 2015-ish, maybe 2016. And pretty much it was like, okay, I was getting into it a little bit. We didn't learn too much in there, but it got me wanting to get myself out there, pretty much pick up a camera and start doing something. Because my college didn't have the classes that I wanted to take. I wanted to learn more about film, but I only had that one fucking class. Like, okay, I'm just going to pick up a camera. I guess that was around when I started to discover YouTube as well. Like when I was watching YouTubers, like I discovered Chris Stuckman. I'm like, oh, he's a guy who likes movies as well, and he talks about them. So I'm going to watch him for a bit. And I was like, okay, and maybe I'll start a YouTube channel, but I didn't know what to do. And then I found the Nostalgia Critic. And a lot of people, yeah, he's a weird one. I know, everybody. But at the time, I was looking at it like he puts in so much effort to do a review. So that's pretty cool. Like all these skits and like a whole script for a review and green screen, all these people doing it. So I kind of went with that type of format. But I got a camera and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? And so I had to make another character because I'm like, I can't just talk to myself. And so I made Jeffrey, the business Jeff. Started making characters with Jeff variations of my name. Jeffy Fro being the lazy-ish one, the Jeffster being the athletic one, Jeffy being the fatter one, and like the Star Wars nerd who can teleport kind of was his gimmick, and then Jeff Fro, the Subway employee. And I do videos and reviews for a while, starting with doing little skits and trying to do reviews. And now it's it's the whole point of joining YouTube was so that I can gain experience by trying to make films, by trying to do something. It was more talking about film, and maybe I could meet people if I'm lucky on YouTube, and if I make something that's actually kind of good and people catch on, then I could get some notoriety going on a little bit. And this is all because there's no school near me where I could get the education for it, so might as well just dip my feet in the water, just jump in before I can know how to swim.
Yeah, it's amazing, because it's funny, like people look at the way that I present my stuff and everybody loves it. You know, they like the no nonsense kind of thing. But I look at like creators like you and Loki and the Valkyries and stuff like that, and how you guys do things. And I think that it's a general thing for all of us, is that we see the way other people do stuff, and we admire the styles that everyone has, and everybody brings something unique to the table. And I find it interesting because, like, for someone like you who wants to do that kind of film aspect, although with entertainment the way that it is, good luck with that. You know, these days it's great to see that you have a space where you can try these individual things, and you're doing the same things that they do there, man. You know, you're getting it out to different people. You're talking to various communities and things like that. You're getting to know different people, and you know, while you're doing it, you're kind of networking, and it's just very cool. And I do have to say, I've had some funny times. What was the movie you didn't see and we all got on you about? Was it Jaws? It was some
okay, when you say the one movie that I didn't see that people got on me for, that's a long list. Jaws is probably one of them. I'm pretty sure like Rocky is one. Alien for a while was, but I saw it since. I watched The Karate Kid. There was some that I knocked off the list. So, and I just saw The Room last week as well. So I've knocked some of the main ones off the list, but still got a long way to go.
Yeah, that was just like Black Angus is in the chat. He says, "You mean all the movies?"
Yeah, the majority. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
because
Angus is cool. Yeah, he was one of the. He's one of the first 20 people. Ever since I started on YouTube, I've always reached out to people. The way I see it is that, you know, if I were to be big sometime, I'd like somebody to, you know, a bigger person to notice me, you know, being the smaller channel. So I like to discover smaller channels, because there's talent within smaller channels that not everybody can see. And yeah,
that's true. And speaking of people we can't not see, Lemon Pie. What's up, Lemon? I love lemon pie.
I'm a picky eater. I hate pie.
Oh, you've probably shaken lemon sweet. And if you don't know, Rook, I got this started on my Friday night with a pineapple and a butt. There's a story behind this.
Makes
if you've
sense.
seen this, we were talking about Amber Heard, and so we referenced Little Nicky.
Okay.
So the pineapples have been trending, but no, you know, yeah, you've kind of had the same philosophy, and when we talked, I've been like that too. Like, I wanted to create this segment to talk with people, whether they be bigger channels or smaller channels, or channels that like people who watch me don't know about, but kind of reaching out to everybody, so that you know, if they like you when I interview you, or they like someone else that I interview here, they can go check out their channel, because you know, for what we talk about, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but for everything we talk about, the more voices we have talking about something, the more it's out there than just one creator here, one creator there, but we're all talking about the same thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'll admit, for a while, the main talk was of Star Wars and The Last Jedi, and there was a breaking point where me and like Angus and a few others were, you know, just going, okay, I think I've about talked about it enough. I think it's done. Just like there would be a point where we're invited to a random stream, and then we're talking about something else, but then the topic for the next hour would be Star Wars, and we're like, we have nothing to say anymore. I don't know. It's the same thing. So. But yeah, I'm glad things have shifted now quite a bit with everything, and everybody's finding their own niche on YouTube, and I think that's the fun part, is because everybody thinks it's harder and harder to be more unique, but that's what makes it better in a way, because if you can get that uniqueness, you know, little things that people can get to watch, the more interesting it'll get.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about community. Like, you remember my late night excursions, right? I started off with only a few people watching me, and it's so great when I'm glancing at the chat right now and having them talk and interact. And my whole thing has been wanting to bring people into the chat to where they can have a space and talk amongst each other, talk with us, and you know, have a good flow, so that if I'm having a conversation like we are in one-on-one interview, I can focus on talking to you and they can ask questions or they can talk amongst themselves. But the most important thing is to be able to talk to each other without being degraded or being put down for their opinion. And I've got to say, this is the most wonderful chat I've ever had. The way they interact with each other, and even if I notice a difference of opinion in the chat, it never gets to a point where anyone leaves mad. Everybody comes back, the same people, and they talk about everything again. And I think for me, that's kind of where I started shifting. Was I talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and I'll get your opinions because I like getting the guests who haven't been covering it, because you got a different perspective. But I started talking about it and realizing how great and fantastic this community is, and how they're all there for each other, and you know, they all bring a unique kind of take on this one subject, and it's just been extraordinary. And I think that goes back to what you were saying, right? It's all about getting people together and having a good time.
Well, yeah, and in a way, it helps get other people's confidence up. Like right now, like I think the way that we've done it here is, I don't know if I would have been able to learn this at school or something, like how to talk to people clearly enough and through a live audience and to entertain, especially if you're by yourself or you're just one-on-one with somebody or in a group. Where can you chime in? How can you talk? What can you talk about? Some people in the chat right now might think, I don't really have anything to say. But after listening to certain people talk, they might start getting some wheels turning and want to end up doing something themselves. And I think that's all part of it. I mean, that's why the Fandom Collective, you know, me and Flip are doing, and it's like, you know, we don't want it to be specific. We don't want it to be mistaken for the Fandom Menace specifically, just because there seems to be different like association things to it, and everybody doesn't want to be labeled in some way. And it's just a networking type of thing, really. It's, you know how sub for subs are just like, oh, hey, look, you sub me, I sub you, and then we're done. And they usually unsub. This is more of a, no, we want you to interact with people. We want you to actually look at their channel, check them out, talk to them. If you can, if you guys stream together or form something, make a project, work on a video together, work on a project. Hell, if y'all eventually meet up someday, cool. Like that's actually kind of how it is. I mean, even Angus in the chat right now, he's met up with at least 2 or 3 people from YouTube. There's been other people like, you know, Jesse Milestone and Jeff Hicks. They got they became a couple. There's a lot of connection and stuff. And the more people, you know, do whatever on here, then that's cool.
And I salute Jeff, because Jesse is quite a pistol. I've watched a couple of her streams. But if you guys are, I don't know if you've checked out my streams with my better half, but she's quite a pistol too. So, you know, personalities, right? Strong personalities attract other strong personalities. And what's up? Speaking of which, Dr. Soup in the house. Good to see you.
Dr. Soup, that's a cool name. That sounds like a TV show. Dr. Soup. He's gonna cook up the next diabolical meal that he'll try to serve to everybody, and then something will happen. Yeah.
Lemon Pie says Zod's black hat has laid waste the lands to the land and his enemies. Yes, this black hat has seen much battle. I've been wearing a different black hat for Carmen. Hey, Carmen, good to see you. But yeah, it's been really great to do that. And you know, I'm in the Fandom Collective, and I remember I've had talks with Flipped Out and who was the other guy? My memory fails me, but yeah, I've had discussions with them and stuff. It's really great, and I think it's great what you guys are doing, trying to include other YouTubers, not just sub for sub, but to get a community going. And I think a big part of what we do should be about the community, about people sharing their views and opinions about, bringing everyone together in these mad times. And, there was a couple of things I wanted to pick your brains about, because we've had, it's been a big couple of months of really crazy news. But the first thing I want to talk about is, I don't know if you've followed, but there's been a little battle between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and it's come to light that this Amber Heard, this salacious woman, has been saying scandalous lies. And this is important for several different reasons, because Me Too has run rampant and have been throwing people under the bus. You come from the Star Wars side of things. We've been called sexist, misogynist, racist, all sorts of ists and phobes and all this other stuff. And now they tried to do this with this Johnny Depp thing, but it's come out that she's lied. And she keeps on getting caught in lies. And so, to me, how much of this situation do you know? And what opinion, if any, do you have on what this does going forward for these claims that we've been hearing a lot about? And it seems to be targeted to people that aren't towing the Hollywood line.
Right. Well, I have barely looked into this at all, like the entire time it's been going on. I think so it was like she was saying that he was beating her or something, and then turns out it was the other way around, kind of.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. Bunch of evidence.
She's trying to cancel him, essentially, or make him lose his jobs in Hollywood, essentially, right?
Yep.
It's kind of the thing, and it's not working so good right now. Like, I forget. So is it still like an open court thing, or is it closed, or what?
So here's the deal. He lost in the UK. People would, free-thinking people would say it looked to be rigged by Mr. Judge Nickel, because of some inaccurate facts he stated. And then on top of that, she claimed there were these assaults, but now things are coming out that some pictures she had of her supposed assault by Johnny, when they published it in the Sun, it was photoshopped.
Okay.
And just the way things went about, like, supposedly she had this big argument and he dragged her through the house and all this and that. But the first thing she does is call her publicist and all of this stuff. Doesn't call the police, doesn't call anyone, to get this documented. She just, in her fear, her first reaction is to.
Well, how she'll look. Yeah.
and reach out to her PR team and to the media.
Interesting move.
And it's this case we've been seeing now, where a lot of cases are coming out against males in particular, where you're listening to what's going on and what's being said doesn't line up with what facts are being presented.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this, and what do you think of the media spin? Are you surprised?
The media is a confusing machine in the world right now with how it is, because even if that's the weird thing, even if it's not true, if they say it enough people will believe it, and therefore, whether it's true or not, the reputation gets tarnished a bit. Even if it's a little bit or a lot, it's there now. And so even no matter how this ends up, I guess the worst case would be if she wins entirely with the court cases, because then that would kind of give precedent to, like, okay, if somebody else likely does this, the dude has extremely little chance after all that, I would assume. And I don't know, this could be a Hollywood specific type of thing. I don't know if it's media in general. I don't know. Hollywood in general seems to just be a ridiculous mess the last few years.
You hit the nail on the head. Hollywood in general is a complete mess because
I don't even understand what represents Hollywood entirely right now. Like, is it just different studios of people that do? I don't even know what its entity is anymore. With everything.
And hi, Purple Valkyrie.
What's up? She was on my channel earlier today. Had an awesome talk. We had nothing planned, but each conversation literally flowed into the next for a full hour, and it was weird. That was cool.
But yeah, you bring up a good point. Hollywood in general has been lost and confused, and this thing with JD is, and its movies in general too. It's had a lack of focus because its movies have been rehashing, repurposing, redoing the same thing over and over again. Television shows, they came out. Did we need an Equalizer television show? Did anyone?
They made one.
Yeah, yes, Super Bowl. You didn't hear, and guess who the lead is? Queen Latifah is the lead. I'm gonna watch it.
Oh no, yeah, my mom told me actually, and she didn't even understand why they're doing that. She's like, she's cool and all, but that's weird.
I mean, it's not. They could have went, and you can tell what side they're going with this, but they could have went complete weird acting choice. Okay, but then it comes back to the whole: did this need to get made?
How old is the Equalizer movie, the original?
Oh God, the original was a show in the 80s. The ones with Denzel Washington are what? Geez, I can't even remember. 2000 and something.
I feel like there's got to be at least like 12 years between something if you want to have some type of refresh. I would say. Now, I'd say most of the time, none of it's ever needed. But if they're going to put some type of spin to it, I feel like you can do something, right? It's not impossible with it if you're trying to reinvigorate a franchise. But you got to have a lot in mind when you're doing it. And it seems like usually it's half-assed. So I haven't seen what this one's going to be, so I have no idea what they're doing, or if it seems like they're revitalizing it to push a certain message. That's kind of annoying. I don't think things should be rebooted for that.
Oh yeah, because at that point, it loses the context of what the show is. It's just a hollowed out, soulless property that they're trying to get the most money out of. Carrie says Amber is a serious danger to all victims of DV, and it's the media allowing this to happen. So victims are going to struggle when someone is clearly lying about DV and is not held accountable. I think that's the biggest thing, and that's what drew me to this. Rook was the factor of claiming to be something you're not. I can deal with Hollywood repurposing stuff. I can deal with their messaging. We've been going through it for how many years now?
Yeah.
I can deal with you spouting lies about gender equality and diversity, whatever. Whenever I watch a show now, I just kind of got to take that out of it. The one thing I can't deal with, and the one thing that struck me about this situation, is blatantly taking and she took someone's story, by the way. She took someone's story of domestic violence and made it her own. And for me, I can't abide by that. It's one thing to push a narrative that isn't necessarily true. It isn't based on anything. It's just your wacky beliefs. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't have to listen to what you say outside of your show. But when you take victim stories, and I've had the pleasure of talking with a lot of people in these chats and on different streams of people who are real victims, and you hear what they've gone through, and then you hear someone stealing and claiming something that isn't true. For me, I think that's why there's so many people upset about this. It's not about these two big Hollywood stars, right? Having a battle. It's about this one trying to claim something she's not and trying to destroy someone's career over something that's a lie. And thank you, Shalana. She said she took her assistant's rape story too, which is just disgusting, Rook. I mean, just think about that.
It's basically, the way I see it, it's basically crying wolf and you lose your career forever.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And it's really disgusting that you would go and steal people's stories, steal people's tragic circumstances, and make them your own. And Jamie Vick said, third equalizer. Yes.
Oh
And
yes.
Lucas.
But, like, I guess I mean, so it sounds it's like people weaponize victimhood these days, I suppose. So the case, not even if they're stealing somebody else's story, but if they just felt like going, I am a female worker that works for a male or worked on set with somebody, or I'm married to one or whatever, they're associated with a male in some way, they could just go, hey, he did blank to me. And it's like, well, did they? Or are you just like, are you an actual victim of something that, like, and we need to deal with this? Or are you just using this to try to crush him? Or to get attention for yourself, or whatever type of things you want to do? Because that seems, that's what I don't like, is, they're pretty much, so if so the real victims, like they pointed out in the chat right there, is, their stuff, when they get heard, there's going to be more process than ever when there actually is a problem, as to where somebody, like this, who seems to not have that be fully true, is just tooling around.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the scary part that I've been talking about, and why I've been covering this so much, is because if we allow someone to perpetuate a lie, if we allow somebody to claim something that isn't true and say these horrendous things, then we're not only marginalizing and pushing down a different sex, but we're also making it harder for the other sex, because you hit the nail on the head. Now, say you have a female who has a legitimate concern. She's had something terrible happen to her and she needs help, right? Well, now you can have the adverse effect where you have people going, well, wait a second, is she telling the truth? Is she actually a victim, or is she just making it up to bring this person down? It creates a dangerous thing in society. And this is the scary part about everything that's going on, that I don't think people realize is, or the beautiful people in the chat do realize, is that these things are creating divides and conflicts within people. And half of what people are jumping on board with, they aren't researching the facts. They aren't digging what's going on. And then
Yeah, it's all hearsay.
Yeah, it's all hearsay. It's all rumors. And we're destroying people's careers, or, trying to destroy their careers based on lies.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine that somebody who actually goes through tragedy, they got beaten up by somebody, or they got raped, or whatever's going on, and they, like, I imagine that, they don't want to go public with stuff like that. They want it to be, not. They'd rather not let everyone know, hey, this happened to me, but they would have to get the truth out there, kind of. But with everybody else that hasn't gone through it, and they say that they do, that. I think that the whole thing gets lightened up a lot, and it's like, no, this shouldn't be that much. But then they want it to be serious when it's not. It's tough to believe anyone and what anything is. Like, everything has to be factual. It's tough to have it be factual, even these days. Like, I feel bad for people from 20 years ago or before that, because it's just your word against somebody else's usually back then.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would like to think that when I grew up in the 90s, and I'll get to this in just a second. Carrie Lewis says, I'm a DB survivor. Amber is mocking all I and many others went through. The injustice with Nickel and the setback progress for male victims of DV by denying Johnny justice in the way he did. And Jamie Vick says, I think that when someone comes up with a story about sexual abuse, the first question should be, where is the police report? If there was one story over, I 100% agree with that. And that's the thing with everything going on culturally. This thing started, we came from the Star Wars side, just talking about someone destroying stuff that we love, right? But we went through abuse from the studio of them calling us names, and we weren't rude or loud in the beginning. We were just like, hey, we really don't like this. Can we get back to the way things were? And unfortunately, we were treated very poorly. And now you look, and this mentality has spiraled and gone out of control.
Oh yeah,
With the
it's evolved. It's evolved big time. We were just like, oh, something's kind of weird with our movies, and other people were kind of oblivious to stuff. And then now it's pretty much the reality everywhere. And it's like, yeah, it's no secret now. You can talk about this stuff with anybody; they'll understand. They get it.
Oh yeah. Deanne made a great point. Said I quit watching award shows because every one actor needs to have a platform, and it seems to be on award shows. Actors to be watched on TVs, movies, not to tell people how to live or what to accept. Yeah, it's um, it's this feeling now that everybody has to be an activist. Everyone has to have this platform, and I think this mentality created the Amber Heards and things that we have now. Is that Hollywood's been pushing to these people that, hey, you should have a platform, you should be getting out there and telling them our views and how we feel this week.
Well, and it's actually not just that. It's you go out and say this, and the point is, if the people that don't back you up on it, we can virtue signal and say you people are horrible because we support them and you don't. And if you're not supporting them, then you are supporting the bad things or something. And it's just like this weird, double standard type of a thing. And I don't know if the award shows in general, I think are pointless for movies in general, just in TV. There's no point. I want to be a director someday, and I see no value in a movie award. What quality is that exactly? Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like the audience will determine the quality over time.
Yeah, it's come to a point where movie awards used to mean something, and they were to show us that someone put in this hard work and we should check them out. And now there has been a outright showing of people literally buying their way into awards, right? They're literally, these pompous guys are voting in a back room. Our opinion doesn't matter. It's what these guys sitting in a room are saying is the best thing for us to watch.
Yeah,
and
I think you could find some of the best award worthy people in films that don't even do that well, where they have just a scene where they're fantastic, or the whole movie is filmed brilliantly, but it just wasn't able to be seen by much, or maybe the story was lacking, but so many other things click. There's so many different types of qualities that go into making a film what it is. And I don't know, they seem to put it usually on the acting or the effects. That's usually about it.
Shalina says the way that it's going, history is about to repeat itself. Yeah, it's sad because that's where we're getting to. History is starting to repeat this ugly trend. You know what's funny? I'm a 90s kid, right? Grew up in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
All of these issues that they bring up, we tackled in like 1990. It's done and over with. The treatment of the gay community. We hit that. We had specials on it. We started the awareness, the issues of diversity, right? Look at the story of NWA. You may not like their music, but the struggle they went through is very real. Look at all of these people who have had hardships and come up and made something of themselves. But it's like this renaissance to go backwards, like none of these achievements or none of this progression actually happened. I mean, doesn't that boggle your mind? It's like they're erasing this stuff that has historically already happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's to a point where, like, I grew up, I was mid-90s kid pretty much, and when I was in school and around the early 2000s and everything, like, I got my black friends and everything, and Quentin's a tall black dude, and if I were to identify him, I'd say, hey, what's up, dude? That's my tall black friend, or something. If somebody needed clarification on which one I'm talking about or something, and that would just be like, yeah, okay, that's my little white dude, over here. And it's like, yes. Cool, man. Cool. Let's go play basketball, whatever. And that was literally, I love basketball back in the day, freaking playing it more than watching it. But it's like
now.
point being that it was casual, and that is now is seen like, oh, that's racist, man. Can't be talking like that. You can't say what their skin color is, but we'll talk about whitey all the time. It's like, all right, yeah, that's actually fine. We don't get sensitive about it. It's like, okay, and we're like, we're not trying to be anything above anybody else. Yes, you are. You're trying to be supremacist. If you say so, I mean, that's your call. We're not. How am I affecting? Yeah,
it's confusing. It's very confusing exactly what the message is, because it's okay to have a message of, let's be diverse. Sure, okay. Let's highlight less black roles and all of these things. That's fine. But they've taken it to a point where I've talked, I have black friends. I have Puerto Rican friends, Asian friends, and I've talked with the many spectrums, and they've all said the same thing to me. They are speaking for us, but we're not speaking for ourselves. This is not what we had in mind when we were talking about these issues. They're saying that this is an issue, but it's not. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I mean, it's really crazy. It's really crazy that the fact that there's been this push and this call for backwards. We're going back. Like, even these things, like for instance, I've got a lot of ladies in this chat tonight. Hello, everyone. And I bet you, if I ask them all right now, do you think Hollywood right now is representing how you feel? If you watch a character, is that what you wanted to be portrayed on screen? Are they doing your gender a service right now? And I can put money on the fact that the people in this chat would agree. No, this is not how I feel. Not at all. I mean, everybody in the chat, if you feel like Hollywood is representing you, press 1. If you feel like they're a crock of crap and they are not listening to your feelings, press 2. Go ahead, light it up. Let me know. If Hollywood is representing you accurately, press 1. If they are not, press 2. And let us know in the chat how you feel about how Hollywood is treating you.
Now I would be confused. I'd be like, why is Hollywood trying to represent the audience? I don't know. That'd be my question. I'd be like, I thought you were trying to make a story or a entertainment of some kind. Seems like odd priorities.
Yeah. It's like even the way when you look at how they portray female characters. Okay, let's go back, because you finally watched the movie, Brooke. Let's go back to Alien, right? That, how I feel about that movie. You remember when I had my watch party?
Oh yeah.
For the anniversary of Alien. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. Ellen Ripley, to me, was the quintessential kind of just very well done female character. She wasn't the biggest in the crew. She wasn't the strongest, right? But she used her wits, she used her intelligence, and she fought this unknown presence. And she didn't put down her male leads. You felt the loss. It wasn't male or female in that movie. It was friends on a mission to do this journey, to check out this signal. And, through some bad choices, they lost everyone on the Nostromo. And it's like, this movie was made when, like, early 70s, late 80s, right?
Late 70s, yeah.
Yeah, around that time frame. And Ridley Scott nailed that perfectly. But, now they're creating these characters that no one seems to have, and we got an overwhelming amount of twos.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah, if Die Hard Bruce Willis only had a vagina and titties, that would have been a great empowering film for women.
Yeah, I mean, it's it is this thing, like they want to erase everything directors already did, right? We've had Ripley, uh we've had Sarah Connor, we've had, I mean, even recently, the brilliant female that lead that I seen was in that movie. What was it called? Was it Hide and Seek or something? It was like a sadistic game of tag. What was it?
Oh, I know
God,
I know what you're talking about,
you,
but
you know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah, I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That was a brilliant horror movie, and this girl was like had to hide for the night because she was marrying into this family.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And they're like playing hide and seek, and they all got weapons and shit, and they're all trying to kill her. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
ready or not,
yeah. I know
that's
what
what
you're
it
talking
was. Ready or not.
about. Right?
Um,
Yeah.
Ready or Not did such a witty, great female protagonist, and I thought I had hope there for a minute because I'm like, this movie doesn't fit. Here she is right up to the end. They don't put down the male lead. There is a plot twist, of course, but they don't. She's just a smart, savvy woman who has to survive the night in a real death match with the in-laws, which I'm sure we can all relate to.
Oh yeah.
And it's like we've had this, and Magic Mayhem says 90s, I lived there, then sad situation. Yeah. Father's Odd says Misery. I'm not, no, she wasn't. Kathy Bates, that was disturbing, but yeah, we had Misery. There's been all of these roles, but yet the film industry would have you believe that for years now we've been deprived, we've been stripped of the powerful female woman.
Yeah, well,
There's no bleeds.
like back in the day, like that was kind of what I was trying to say before, is that things were so normal that if you were to say, the next movie that's coming out has a female and a black person in it, it'd be like, well, yeah, like of course it's a movie. What do you mean? Like, why are you emphasizing these things? And now they try to emphasize everything so much to where it's like they want it. It's like, okay, we want it to be normal or more in the light with everything that, on the same level as you or whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, but every time you hyper focus on it, I mean, that's what all the focus seems to be. It's like the next Ghostbusters might star a whole crew of black dudes and all black chick lesbian handicap something. What else is something that can happen that hasn't been represented? I don't know. And it's like, well, what does that have to do with the movie? I don't know, but they're in it. It's like, okay, I guess that's fine. I guess. Can it be good? Maybe but there doesn't seem to be a focus on that. Again, I'd probably watch it if it was funny, if it was good in some way. That's not usually the focus these days. Can we make it good? It's like, no, but we have all these in it. Is Ing Chong in there? No. Okay, well, maybe next time, buddy.
And here's the thing. Eliza Winter just put up a good point. I don't watch movies based on how many women are in it. I like good movies, period. When you go on quotes, you might not be selecting the best. And that's it. How many movies? I always gauge my movie experience on if it has a quote I can remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, one of my favorites, Dark Knight. You can quote so many, like literally anytime Heath Ledger talked in that movie, it was quotable.
Yeah.
I don't think there was one thing that he said in that movie. And I don't know if you saw that in the theater, but I saw it in the theater like 5 times.
I can make my pencil disappear. Where to go? Ta-da! There we go. Yes.
You want to know how I got these scars? My father. But he was a drinker.
Yes. Going on that one guy's point, he said based on how many women are in it. Well, that's the thing. You could have 4 women in it, and they'd go, why not 5? or there's 4 women and there's 4 men. Well, how come there's an equal amount? Or something. It's like,
Yes,
well,
or my
how they were all white women though, or something, or there was just one black. Oh, just one. How come there's not 2? Okay, Jesus. It's so important. All right. My thing would be how like the amount of actors though, like maybe sometimes they don't work together very well, or they're not in the area, or they don't want it, or the people hiring don't like that specific person, or whatever. But like if I could have Jackie Chan in something, dude, bring him back and more his movies, man.
Yeah, it's like it's so. Yeah, we got you. Ain't on a roll here. The why so serious? Yeah, I have that. I actually have a shirt. It's a white shirt and it has Joker's face in it, and in the neon highlights it says "Why so serious?" Like, yeah, that movie was great because it was pure acting by all roles. I mean, we know Heath Ledger stole the show. Rest in peace. But
very poor choice of words.
he's like, let her go.
I love that. Very poor choice of words, man. I love that freaking part. Let her go. Okay. That's a weird question. All right, sure.
It's just like but here's the thing. A lot of the acting gets you gotta overshadow of Heath Ledger's performance. But when you think about that movie as a whole, by him being so good, it was an example of what a good movie should be, because every other actor almost seemed to elevate their performance. Seeing him come out, first day on set, they must have thought, man, we got to bring like our level 11 game. Look at this guy.
Exactly.
Like, how do you do that? Selena says, I gauge my movies on is they have a memorable story and character in it. That's why I love Thin Man series from the 30s and 40s and old school Godzilla movies. I agree. Godzilla was corny, but God, do I not love that stuff. It was very simple. We didn't have focus on the people because, guys, I don't care about the people's feelings. I want to see 2 big monsters fighting and destroying stuff.
Yeah, that's actually funny. So like I'm one of the people that I do love story to be well, and I think in a kaiju movie you can have a great story and not have any people in it. You can have the camera is your friend in a movie like this, and you can have these big monsters doing whatever they're doing. And Godzilla he's supposed to be somewhat intelligent, right? He's not like just I'm just a lizard. He's kind of like a smart lizard, I assume. Like the monsters themselves aren't just big dumb monster. They have some kind of intelligence ish, I assume.
Yeah. King Kong exhibits lots of stuff in Skull Island when he like picks up the helicopter chain and starts whipping it.
Well, I mean, like some of the bad ones too, like King Ghidorah, Mothra, like they all have some kind of level of understanding of something. Like they're above animal level of intelligence, I would assume. And so point being, you can have the camera on these creatures just doing something. Like, do you remember in The Force Awakens, the first time you see Rey, she has no dialogue for like 2 or 3 minutes. She's just going about her day doing something, and then stuff happens. Technically, you could have done a lot where she doesn't say a line. And so take that same concept with Godzilla or something, and you can have him doing whatever, or another creature doing something, and something happens, and conflict of some kind. You can follow things with film. It's a visual storytelling. You can make it pretty easy. Hey, did you step on that guy's egg and crush it, and now that's why you're having a big battle? Okay, cool. Whatever's happening, you can have something there. You can still have people in it, but not be an integral part of the story. But you could, focusing on the big monsters. You can make a story work, but they focus too hard on making the humans stuff matter when it. I don't know. I wouldn't think they'd have that big of an effect on the kaijus, to be honest. It's like you can do whatever you want, but I thought the point is you can't do much to them. So even waking them up is kind of odd.
And I totally agree with that. And what Jamie Vick said, look at that segue. If you look at the most memorable movies of all time, it had nothing to do with the breakdown of the cast. Exactly. There's literally, and that brings us to Godzilla, which you bring up a good point. There's a thing, Hollywood. You guys used to do it, okay? It's crazy, I know. because you want your diversity. But here's what's crazy. You can still have that. Okay, here's the secret. It's called directing, right? If you do these shots where you don't let the actor talk about how powerful and great they are to be whatever they are, right? You just have the camera focus on a look and you just shoot them doing something and they glance at the camera. Oh my God, visual storytelling? Zod!
Yes, thank you.
Monster.
You crazy person. Jackie Chan would be ashamed, you know? Let the camera just needs to follow them do their thing. It's like, I mean, that's just for the most basic thing. But yeah, you can tell a lot without having there be, oh, we need to destroy the humans because they're a virus on the planet, so we're going to unleash the monsters and do something with the global environment. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
You know, I'm watching that and I'm like, okay, King of the Monsters isn't that bad. I liked it. You know, and I'm watching it and I'm going, and we're getting to the part, and look, I like the dude from Game of Thrones, but that whole thing, it's like, well, I'm not really a bad guy. The environment is struggling. And I go, well, there's several points wrong with your plan, buddy. You're unleashing devastating monsters.
A giant monster. No. You see, you missed the point. They're all pros. They're all pros at growing farms. All the monsters know how to make farms and farmland, and the whole point is to demolish the buildings really quick so that they can plant more soil or something. That's the whole point, is to grow some trees. The Godzilla and all them, King Ghidorah, whatever, they're all master farmers.
You know, I would love to see someone do a spoof. Maybe I might try to do that. I'll get with you, Rookie, because you're better with the camera stuff. I want to do a spoof where we put Godzilla as like Thanos from Infinity War, and he destroys the Earth, and then you just see him go on a farm.
I want to see him and his monster friends all working together to pull the hay and to, you know, make some rows. Somebody's planting the seed, somebody's watering it, somebody's at the well, Mothra's at the well, and King Ghidorah's, you know, making a campfire or something. The other person's making butter. Something that the other kaiju making a giant vat of butter. That's how you save it. But yeah, see,
the Amish monsters.
But it's like you could have had with kaiju, especially, man. See, I don't like the idea of just put monster A versus monster B and that's it, because if there's no context to anything, like if there's no context to why they're fighting, I find that pointless. Even though it could look cool, it's only at like 70% for me, and I need that 30% of context to make that all the cooler, depending on what it is. Like, why is King Kong gonna fight Godzilla in the next one? If it's just, well, because we gotta have two monsters fight, I'd be like, okay, but like, is there anything else, like a little bit more with that? So,
and that's the thing, we didn't see. Here's the thing that was beautiful about the old Godzilla's movies. They had a point. It was in reference to what happened during World War II, right? And their way of dealing with it and responding to it was making those films, and about how that disaster affected this giant kaiju coming in. The greatest line ever created in cinema, Godzilla!
Godzilla.
Oh, there's going to be a hashtag cancel Zod now. It's just like, you know, you had, it was so corny, but it was such great fun because we got the point, right? There was the statement, it was an environmental thing. The statement was there, but it wasn't focused on. It was like, this happened and created this as a response through nature. This is what, you know, this is how things happen, and now we got giant monsters battling, and you know what? People were like, okay, bomb dropped, giant lizard. All right, let's do it. I'm filled in.
The old ones almost did a Super Sentai style. The old kaijus, they're just like, we're gonna get, you know, we met the other 4 of his Godzilla friends, and they're all gonna team up against something else or something, or Ultraman's in trouble now. Send Godzilla, and here we go, and he's fighting. The two enemy bug or kaiju things are now going to fight together. Yes.
Yes, that is. Isn't it Gojar? Yep. Yes. Yes. There. And if you look up movies, the actual original Godzilla design is in that movie. There's literally a movie. I believe it's on Amazon or one of them. And yeah, I was looking at it. And I was sad because I've seen just about every Godzilla film, and I look and I go, What's this? And I go, oh, a kaiju movie I missed. Oh no. But that's just the thing. Someone said show not tell is dead. I believe it was Jane.
Yeah.
I'm going back through you guys' comments. And that's just it. Visual storytelling. And I heard this comparison for the Equalizer, swinging it back around, right? Mm-hmm. The problem with this new Equalizer, I think, is not going to be the performances. I've seen the first episode now. For me, it's wacky, nonsensical. So if I put my mind to that frame, like, okay, I see what you're going for. But the problem and the comparison that I heard was accurate was when you look at Denzel's performance, there's a lot of scenes literally when he says nothing. He says, like, maybe in that movie, a couple of lines throughout the whole film. Like, he has very few conversations. But when you look at the camera work, like when someone talks to him and the way he looks at a particular angle, you realize it's not about what he says in the movie or the fact that he kills people in slow-mo. It's the way that they shoot his perspective, the way he looks.
You can have the "I'm going to kill you" eyes, or "I guess I'll let you live" eyes, or the "all right, I don't want to have to kill you, but you're really annoying me now" eyes, or something. The look they can give. It's all gesture. I mean, this is why people would probably think it would be hard to make a film about Zelda, or with Link as a main character, like as the protagonist, but I think it would be quite possible to, and that'd actually be a fun challenge. That's the point too. It is challenging to do difficult things when you have restrictions in your filmmaking, like protagonists can't talk. Like, that's kind of a tough one because he's your protagonist, and how are you going to progress things or share how he feels? Well, you got to have it be with his actions, and the camera has to frame it in a way that tells you, that helps express what his emotions are and what he's doing and why. And that's how you can progress. And then you have other characters that can come in along the way as well and see how that goes. And I think that they could make compelling movies that way, but they're like, no, that's too hard. Don't want to do it. It's like, well, that's why y'all are bitch ass, filmmakers that suck. They're not doing it, not taking the risk.
You know what's hilarious? Jeffrey Turner is in here. This man has been super chatting me now, folks, for years with no super chat. It's going to be so weird when I get my first super chat from him.
Oh yeah, I see that too sometimes. Like the pretend $20 super chat, read my thing, even though it's not. What's up, Megan Jetty?
Bless him. I'll still pull up his comment because he's been a trooper. Like, he believed in me. I'm like, well, yeah, I got two people.
Yeah, these are all an IOU.
I mean, if I collected super chats from you, Jeffrey, I wouldn't need to be monetized, buddy. But no, it goes back to this, that I feel like the reason, and I draw this conclusion because I have nothing else to draw. The reason why we're going through this now is because of the lack of creativity. When you get down to a movie or something that's getting made, right? And much love for the Godzillas in the chat. I should do a Godzilla stream. Anyways, when you get down to how movies are being made now, it feels like they're leaning on the diversity purely because they can't actually write. If you just took all of their diversity out of a movie, right, and you go, okay, let me break this down, bare bones, story, plot, events, right, runtime. What is this saying to me? And there's an alarming, or maybe not alarming, there's an alarming amount of movies where you'd be like, this movie was running on nothing. It has nothing to it.
So I think you can make films that are intentionally trying to have like a full black cast, for example, but It depends on what your story is, honestly. It depends on how well you execute that story as well. There's a lot of factors that can go into it. You can still make something actually good with starting with that as part of your premise for your film, with the diversity thing, but it depends on what you're doing with it. And that's usually the problem. They're just like, well, because we're trying to tell you that they're good. Yeah, okay, So what else can you tell us? Oh, you don't have anything. Okay. So that's where you failed.
Selena brought up a good point. Hollywood just wants to remake every good piece of cinema that there is. Yeah, I agree. And Victorious, what's up, said, "Hey Zod, you said it. Bad writers." For me, it's all come back to bad writing. And the thing that baffles my mind is they're going after strong actors, right? They're getting rid of Brad Pitts, they're getting rid of Clint Eastwoods, they're getting rid of Johnny Depp's, they're getting rid of all of these people that don't want to with Chris Pratt. They don't want to toe the company in line. But my question to you would be, who are you going to replace them with? Jennifer Lawrence, Brie Larson, Amber Heard. I mean, look at who you're swapping these people out who care about what they're doing, because you don't want to pay them money. And at the end of the day, Brooke, it seems like a combination of messaging and money is ruling what we're being, what we're getting as products.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of what sucks is that, that's just what's going to happen, I guess, for now. And when they keep on making money for it, that's the thing. They make money on the return. Even if everybody hates it, they've made money, and that's how they judge their success for it. Which, man, that just sucks. That's how it goes. Like Star Wars sequels, not very good films, but they've made enough to where to them, they're going, everybody loved them. They're great. So it's like, oh, okay, fine.
And we talk about this a lot. It's the average moviegoer that's being hoodwinked. The average person that's hearing, say, for instance, Johnny Depp, right? They're hearing half of the truth. Or someone who doesn't follow it, you hit the nail on the head, right? You're like, I'm just going on what I heard, right? But where did you hear the sources? Well, you're hearing the sources from the media. And who is the media catering to? They don't care about whether the actor is innocent or not. They're catering to who's ever giving them press passes. Yeah. So if Disney or Warner Brothers or whatever says, hey, I need you to say this about this actor and this about this actress. And if you don't, you know that fancy press pass you have, I'll give it to someone who will play ball. I'll give it to THR. I'll give it to Vanity Fair. Those guys are just waiting to get into my premiere. So they're like, oh, well, and they can have the evidence, but they're like, tell the truth or get into the gala.
I feel like people aren't, especially in Hollywood, people aren't as aware of how easily they can overtake the Hollywood space. Like right now, I have the capability to make a film in my house, essentially. And if I had a little bit more money, then I can make that even a better project. And, there's other people that are way out there, especially the actors that get jaded, Johnny Depp, Chris Pratt, Gina Carano. If they wanted to band together a little and make their own type of little thing going on, they're separate from Hollywood, but still make their own projects and have their fans be the ones that support them to get the project made in the first place. I think that'd be a better future going forward in a way, especially for entertainment. Moo, my brother. It's Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's a Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 reference because have you seen that film?
Oh, unfortunately, it's great, but
at the very end, when the head falls off, he comes out with the axe like moo. Gets shot. Freaking great.
You know what I find amazing? Hold on a second. Super chat. They blurted this out. YouTube blurted this. This is what I'm talking about. This censorship, and you guys knew I was going to touch this because Zod never runs from conflict.
And you like touching.
Oh, God. So I'm going to get into this. Look, there's two trains of thought about this. And before I get into this, I want to put into context what was said. The tweet she made was making a metaphorical reference. And
isn't that tweet she shared? Isn't it one she shared? It wasn't even one she made herself.
It was one she shared. Yeah, it wasn't even her tweet. And the point that she made was made after this. It wasn't a direct reference to a group of individuals. It was a reference to people tearing each other apart, as happened historically to this group by a certain group of individuals, because YouTube will pull a video if you make certain references.
Mm-hmm.
And that was being highlighted in the statement. And now this lynch mob came along and they took this out of context. But if you guys go follow my Twitter, look at what I posted from Mr. Pedro Pascal. He made the exact same reference, reversed what he was talking about. And that's got 3,000 likes and like 4,000.
His was more specific.
His
was more direct to what he's saying.
Yeah. And it was astonishing, because you talk about empowerment, but here's this woman who spoke about what she liked. She spoke her own views. She had her own opinions. And now we're silencing that because you don't like what she said. We're going to fire her. And I said it's a lot to do with Johnny Depp's situation, because if you look at it, Johnny Depp was fired over what? A rumor that wasn't true. Gina Carano was fired over a perception of what was actually being stated. It was how people perceived it.
That kind of thing, actually, I feel like that's been going on since James Gunn, if not before him as well. The whole something was said on social media and now they will lose their job for it. I don't understand that mentality at all.
And you don't want to know the truth? I referenced that. And I disliked James Gunn's comments more than I disliked hers.
His was more literal. Again, more. This is more to the point, and it's like, oh wow, okay.
So, folks, let me just put this question out to you, and don't worry how you respond in the chat. You are free to say what you want, because Zod will never silence your guys' voices. Let me just ask you something. If you find this worse, someone who comes on Twitter, a man who is responsible supposedly for pushing Disney moral values, right, and says they want to host a How to Catch a Predator party while making lewd references to underage girls. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a daughter. And the fact that this man came out and made a joke about something like that, that to me is offensive. And I still said, I don't think it was right, but I don't think we should cancel, because I'm not with cancel culture. We shouldn't cancel.
And he said he didn't just say the stuff now. That was stuff from years ago on social media.
And I mean, still, there's little weird things. That the James Gunn situation's a whole.
It was weird and all over the place, but for the most part, it was because on social media he had said some things in the past, and that is why he was fired, or why the publicity was all over him for it. It's like, I don't know. I don't think that social media should be how you judge people's actual life all the time.
And Selena said the same thing. That bothers me. Exactly. So this man made a joke, and look, okay, it's a couple of years ago, but that's not cool. That shouldn't be.
Yeah, I agree too.
Out there. But okay, now take that tweet into context. Now let's talk about what this tweet was talking about. Had nothing to do with no one, had nothing to do with the particular groups of individuals that everyone wants to seem to highlight. It was making a reference to something that she felt personally, and it was not attacking one side. It was not glorifying another side. It was making a metaphorical point, which the irony is she proved the point.
What's funny, so because she wasn't specific about what she was referencing, everybody just interpreted it their own way, and that's just more weird about it. Like, she didn't reference it to anything specific, but everybody took it as if she's saying something directly, and she isn't.
Yeah, Jan Davis says he said that was part of his job to make shock posts, and here's the thing: no, it's not. That is the worst. That is the worst defense. Your job on social media, okay, actors and actresses and all of you guys out there who want to be activists. Let me just break this down for you. Your job is not to preach to me about how you want to shock the public with this, right? I want to hear about your new movie. Maybe I want to see you cruising with The Rock and you guys having a funny banter. Maybe you got another celebrity friend. Like, look at Ryan Reynolds, for instance, on Twitter. Love his Twitter and him trolling Hugh Jackman. That's what I want to see. I want to see stuff like that.
No, see, I agree. I agree 100%. But I think what he was trying to say in the chat was like that that it gets more, that the shocking stuff gets more attention. People talk about it more. See, this, I think I saw this in South Park. They called it Trevor's Axiom. It's kind of like it's the troll. It's the trolling thing. It's not specific to this, but it's like person A is saying something about person B, not to get a reaction from person B, but to get a reaction from person C, who will try to come to their person B's defense or whatever, and then other people react to person C reacting, and it's just this constant thing of, you know, it's beside the point. The original person who said something doesn't even matter anymore. It's like it just becomes this battle that other people picked.
And in just a second, I got a good one for that. Magic Mayhem made an excellent point. So she got fired for it. I call BS. What's the real reason she was fired? Exactly. That does make you question, like, is this really the reason?
Yeah, Ethan Van Sciver said it as if she was probably decided to be let go a while ago, but after this, they just pulled it now. Like, they already chose, okay, we will fire her at some point, and then now they did officially. Like, that's why they probably didn't say anything directly when they announced the new stuff. They didn't say she will be for a fact in any of these. It's, well, maybe she might, instead of being definitive.
Yeah, you know, it is this thing. And look, if we're going to play the freedom of speech card, and this is my argument for the whole thing, okay, you don't like the statement, fine. But if we're going to play this, why aren't we calling out Pedro Pascal? Why is James Gunn still hired at Disney? What if we're going to say, Disney, if you're going to make this moral stance, if you're going to take the high ground, okay, all right, cool.
They keep on calling Gina the N-word.
Yeah, that's it's like
look at that. It's like, and he can't go, isn't he being sexist? No, he's being a good man by I don't know. All the people that go over this, it's crazy.
It's a crazy illogical way to think about it, because okay, fine, if you're going to pull someone for this, okay, I can get the tweet was taken out of context, fine, I'll give you that. I've given you a lot, Disney. Okay, the tweet was taken out of context. But then let's look at all of the stars you have, shall we? Let's look at everything they posted. You're telling me right now that if I go on, say, Chris Evans, any of these other, not Hemsworth, never Hemsworth, I love Chris Hemsworth. Anyways, you're saying if I go through your cast, I won't, at one time or another, find a blatantly outrageous or outlandish offensive tweet in any of them? Let's say you guys at Disney have your Twitter. Let's just say I got Bob from accounting, okay? You're telling me I won't find anything on his Twitter? I mean, if we can let or hang someone for this behavior, are we going through and checking everyone at this point? Are we doing an inventory of what everyone's saying? Because then it kind of seems
the whole
like
point, the whole thing, that's a lot of extra work when it's not needed in the first place. I mean, you just say whatever and then go on with your day. I mean, I imagine how it's been for the longest time is that people in Hollywood were assholes with people or not, or maybe they weren't. Maybe some were, some weren't. But we didn't know that much about what goes on in their lives, you know. And now it's
just burning up this comment section. This is a great point. It says, if she said that bad, then why let someone who said stuff about kids stay on? Exactly. You're a Disney company, right? And you let someone who said something, and yeah, it was years ago, and then it was for shocks or whatever. He was talking about kids. I don't care what anybody says. I have a kid. Everybody who's in the chat that has kids, they know. When you talk about kids, that's a whole different. There's things. If we're gonna call this out, right? They're saying the Jewish thing is a bad angle. Okay, I can get on board with that. It's too soon. It's never appropriate to say anything about that, right? Okay, I can give you that. But it's okay to talk about children. It's okay for Amber Heard to make ridiculous tweets and attack people. It's okay for another actor to blatantly attack people. That's okay. But this one is the tipping point.
It's also surprising. It's also surprising because Amber Heard's a redhead, and you know how Hollywood hates redheads. You know.
Yeah, that does surprise me. Jamie Vick says the bigger problem is that this transcends social media, and the whole culture is now heading in the direction.
It pretty much is that direction. It pretty much is what that is now. It's not the direction; it's just there.
And that's the point. That's why I love doing these streams, and I like talking with these people, because this proves to me, all 26 people watching and everybody who will be watching, right, is that there are people who don't all agree with this, right? There's a good vast majority. We're seeing that with the hashtag cancel Disney Plus, which, by the way, I am not endorsing them anymore, even watching it for free. You know, this is, you know, this way of thinking is dangerous, because what we're doing is we're turning people against each other, essentially, is what we're doing. That's more scary to me than who's getting hired or fired, right? You know, Disney was probably waiting to fire her for a while. That's not the point that upsets me. The point is manipulating and using people's feelings about a very touchy topic to manipulate people into turning on each other. That's scary. That is scary, that we are at a point where the corporate world is manipulating us into turning on each other to try to cause fighting for their own purposes. I mean, think about how crazy that concept is, Brooke. That's scary. That is really, really scary.
It's also that by creating controversy with somebody or something, you could get more attention to yourself with it. Like, you know, when you video somebody doing something crazy on the street or something, if you catch whatever can get you attention, essentially. It's been proven that you do these certain things and a lot of people will notice. So
Elizabeth made a great point. Zod. That was very passionate. I had to like yell it out.
I think it was more Zod.
Check the last 20 years and see who makes Nazi comments. I 100%. I would love to see all of the stars that have, especially recently with the political climate, who's made those comments about a certain figure. And tell me there haven't been.
Yeah, I'd want to know what people, if you were to ask everyday people, hey, so can you describe what an N-word is? It'd be like, I don't know, which one now? Which one's the popular one? Okay. And would their descriptions match up? Because I don't think they know what the words mean.
No, and here's the thing. This is the sad part about the whole thing. By bringing this up and by throwing this out there, they're actually creating division. They're creating it.
Well, and they're giving the thing they hate. They're giving the thing they hate more attention as well.
Yeah, they are blatantly starting racist talk by bringing it out there. They are perpetuating a fire. You know how this stuff died down? We brought attention to it. We punished the people who needed to be punished, and then we let it die out. It's like the old thing with Freddy Krueger, right? How do they beat Freddy? He's powerful in your dreams if you think about him. But if you stop thinking about him, he loses his power. And that's where we were at until these people started bringing it back up.
When they got to the point where they wanted Starbucks employees to bring up conversations about sexuality, race, and gender to customers. Remember when they wanted to do that?
Everybody in the chat. Who wants to go 8 o'clock in the morning to your local Starbucks, right? I work at 7. I don't want to go into Starbucks and see the young barista doing barista things, right? They're slinging their coffee, and then I get to talk. Hey, do you know about the struggle of the gay community, and the black community is being repressed, and by the way, the sexism in this town is rampant. Like, can you believe I got whistled at 3 times coming? You know how depressed I would be, rookie, going into work.
I'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't care about your conversation. I'm gonna go now. Can I get my coffee? I'm not paying you to talk to me. I'm paying you to give me my coffee. Thank you. Bye. Yeah.
This is great. So, Selena, send me these tweets because you follow me on Twitter. It says Brian Litter's wife was making a lot of racist, anti-Semitic comments on Twitter. Exactly. I would like to see, like, how many of these people are calling this out, but in their own backyard. I mean, look at the biggest troll on the face of YouTube, Pablo Hidalgo. This guy has literally devolved into name calling and outright calling people horrendous names for Star Wars. People, just think about that. For Star Wars, this man's sole job is to go out there and insult you. If you have an emotional experience with a product, he will say that you are a wuss for crying because a piece of media touched you. We've never cried before. I've never had an experience when I've gone in the theater and seen a movie and broke down because the acting was so great that I was touched. According to Pablo, I'm a sissy.
Yeah, I guess. I guess my thing with that is, yeah, that's something ridiculous for somebody in his position to say, but also I just kind of be like, yeah, all right, whatever. So that's how he thinks. I don't know. For a filmmaker to say that is kind of weird. You're referencing the Star Wars theory stuff?
Yeah. Star Wars 3. I've seen his channel. Such a great, passionate stuff. This guy is really passionate about what he does. He's named Star Wars Theory, right?
Yeah.
The guy gets emotional because we finally get a do-over with a character we all love. And what does this jackass, this lowlife, this talentless hack, who I don't even know what the hell he does at Lucasfilms, guys. I don't know what this guy's job is. I think he's a VP troll, okay? I have no clue what this guy's role is. And he has the gall, he has the audacity to berate a man who is just expressing his love for something, just coming on and giving us a little emotion and saying, you know what, guys, this touched me. Thank goodness we got some justice for this character that was bent over by Rian Johnson and had horrible things done to them. So because he had this response, he's a baby. Let me tell you something. There was a movie that came out. If you guys don't know, someone said VP troll, great digs. If you guys don't know, there was a movie that came out. I believe it was called Team 6 or something. It was a movie about SEAL teams. It was shot by a SEAL team. There's a scene in the movie every time. I own the movie. And I've been to a lot of funerals for people that I've lost. I was part of a special unit. And I've seen the funeral when someone passes away. Oof, I'm okay. When someone passes away, they put pins on their coffin, each team member, and it's a show of respect from the unit. And the last person is the captain. You get a new pin, but you give the pin that you have to the person out of respect for what they did in the line of duty. And every time when I get to this part in the movie, I break down because I think about that and what happened and what I've seen. And when you're there, there's no feeling in the world that I can describe of how that feels. And then to see it so respectfully portrayed on screen, you know what I mean? Because it was shot by people who are actually in the military. So all of the movements they do, right down to losing a buddy, who, by the way, in the film throws themselves on a grenade for their unit. So, I mean, there's extra emotion in this film. And to see that movie every single time, Rookie, I watch this scene. I've seen this movie.
Was this called Act of Valor? Was this called Act of Valor?
Yes, Act of Valor.
Okay, because you said SEAL Team 6, and I'm like, this sounds like this movie called Act of Valor. I watched it just like that. Yeah, I like the movie too.
That was the name of the movie. Every time I see that scene in Act of Valor, I lose it, man. I lose it because that movie paid so much respect for what we went through and showed the harsh realities of what happens. And even like most people don't realize that was based on an actual declassified operation.
Yeah.
So the stuff you see that transpired, that really happened. The names were changed, some of the times were changed, but that really happened.
Yeah.
And that person really did pass away in that fashion. So to see what happens at the end of the film, I get touched every time. Now picture I go on YouTube and I express how great Act of Valor is, and then I say this one scene, right, and I get choked up on camera because I'm thinking about it to do my review thing, and some VIP troll comes out and goes, "This General Zod's such a baby. Why would you cry over that? It's just a movie." What?
Yeah, that'd be pretty uncalled for, I'd say. I'd say the difference between that and the Luke thing, though, would be that with Luke, I didn't see The Mandalorian, so I have no idea the context of what happens in the scene. But from what I could tell, it sounded like he does something kind of cool and shows up, and that's what was emotional. From what it sounds like, I think I'd understand the emotional part more based on what happens around it, like around the scene. But I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I don't know the context of how the scene plays out to bring out the emotion. From what I can tell, it's just he just kind of shows up. So I don't know.
It was the way, and I think the crap of it all. I lost Jamie Vick. Oh, Jamie Vick made an excellent point. What I want to know is why there is only one word to describe a race that is not allowed, but words to describe other races are not only allowed, but they are used on a daily basis.
I don't see the word Caucasian used enough. Let's get Caucasian back. Hashtag Caucasians. Bring Caucasians back in the chat. Hashtag bring Caucasians back.
Yes, Caucasian. You know what? Every time I get
not white, you fuckers. I am Caucasian. How dare you? How fucking dare you? I am Caucasian.
You know what, Rook? We're gonna bring that back. I'm gonna just randomly DM you and be like, "What up, Caucasian?"
Hell yeah! Tag me on Twitter, man. Caucasian power.
What up, my Caucasian brother?
That sounds like a minority saying it. There we go. That works.
Remember that movie Clerks 2 where he's like taking it back? I'm not gonna reference that because that was
remember the movie that I haven't seen. Another one.
Damn it, Rookie.
Is there a Clerks 2 and 3 of 4? I don't know.
you know what's funny? The Rookie Critic is pretty accurate. we gotta get you some critiquing chops here.
Yes, the Rocky movies are next for me to watch. I haven't seen any of them in their entirety. I've seen bits and pieces on TV over the years. I haven't sat and watched this down. I don't see enough Caucasians in the chat.
I know. All of the Caucasians in the chat.
Angus is there. He'll ride the hashtag Caucasian. Bring him back.
He's got to give a 1.5. Or half a 1.
He likes a dip.
But yeah, this has been a great talk. I've loved bringing these things out. It's great to talk to you because when I have people on, I like to get different perspectives on the things I talk about, but the things they talk about, get your channel out there. I mean, you've been doing such a great job. I like your interviews. They're good. They're not as good as this guy I know, Mr. Zod, but they're pretty good. brought up a good point for this. Star Wars Theory says Star Wars Theories says Star Wars gave him strength during his chemotherapy when he battled child cancer. That's why he started crying. That's, you know, and that's my whole point of this stream and just talking with you guys today and having Rookie talk with you guys. You know, this is how powerful entertainment can be. It can be a great way to unite all of us. It could be a great way to have all of us come together, or it could be a way to split us all apart. And I hate to see it be this ugly, nasty thing that divides people. Why can't we be rallied together for something good and positive? Why can't we come together as a community and not be angry about something? That's the thing that's so frustrating, is that it's so easy to do, Hollywood. It's so easy.
Well, you can actually be brought together because something made you angry. Actually, I mean that's how
through rage.
was. It was like, dude, I don't like this. You know, I don't like people calling me this for not liking this. You hear this? You feel me? Oh yeah, you do? Holy shit! Wow, we can hate this thing together. Yes.
Yeah, it's so crazy to me that this is being weaponized. And look, I'm glad for everyone we've had watching, and for I know it's a Thursday, so it's a weird time frame. But thank you, everybody, and thank you for being here with my good friend, the Rookie Critic. You bring a lot of good stuff to the table. I think we've had a very great conversation. And what do you got coming on your channel, man? What movie are you going to watch that you should have watched like years ago?
Oh, that's a long list, man. So the Rocky 1 through 4 is next on my list. Then I got a couple other ones. Theocracy. My sister suggested that one, and that one said it kind of applies today a little bit. So I'll give it a try. Sunshine. I think Fanscene recommended that one. I got a couple other ones I'm gonna try out. I forget what they all are from over here. Father Goose. I think that's the older one. I saw a glimpse of that. That was kind of funny. Check that one out, and I'll see that one. So with my content on my channel, I don't do what's popular in the news for my channel. Really, I try to just focus on what can gain some film experience. So the videos I'm going to be making, I either do streams about movies I haven't seen before, or I'll have a guest on. I'll do my tomato videos here and there. And once I finish the Tomato Wars, I'm going to do one last tomato hurrah of some type of project, some big old shebang tomato thing. And my next film project, I'm not calling it a skit project anymore. It will be the Jeff Apocalypse series.
Ooh.
That will take me all year to make, though, so don't expect anything anytime soon. But yeah.
Elizabeth thanked us. No, Elizabeth, thank you. I'm glad that we can have a great fun stream with you guys and really have a great conversation, because look, part of what I like doing, a Rookie, I'm sure you like doing, isn't it a great feeling to have people tell us how much we made them laugh and stuff like that? I mean, we're doing what entertainment should be doing right now.
Hell yeah, man. It's a great feeling. I'd love it if actors would, talk to their audience how we do, interact, talk to StreamYard link, let people come on in, or at least talk to them in the chat as it was or something. I mean, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to give anything away, but actually I may have in the future someone on here who's like a hero to me for some works that they've done. So, stay tuned for that. I've been talking to a couple of people.
Gilbert
I've got
Gottfried.
Huh?
Gilbert Gottfried?
How did you know?
He's the best man alive, of course. That'd be a funny interview.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Well, guys, back when I was Liago, that was the toughest role. I came in and they said, Gilbert, you need to be a loudmouth parrot. And I was like, what? How could I ever be a loudmouth parrot? Do you guys hear my voice? There's no way I could pull off this character. But here we are. I made it work. People seem to love it. Forget Robin Williams. I was the one who carried that film all the way to box office gold.
Good job there. Good job. Justin Proper's like, my super chat was ignored. No.
Justin, you never made what super chat? See, I love Justin. I had Justin Proper on the other day on my late night talks. He was such a champ. He took on the chat. He got horribly mauled by all of my great fans.
That's how he does.
Speaking of trolling, I love Justin Proper. Gotta have him back on. Super chat. Silent Night 2 is one of the greatest movies ever. Almost as good as The Room. Yeah, I could
Indeed.
totally see that comparison.
The memes are amazing, dude. Like nobody's made a meme about other than Garbage Day. It's the only one that got out somehow. And it's like, dude, the dude gets stabbed with an umbrella and it opens and then it starts to rain. It's like, really? Okay. The guy freeze, and then he just takes the gun and shoots him in the head. Okay. There we go. I love it.
Oh man, see, this is bring cheesy good film back. Can we have a renaissance of the 80s and not this fake 80s nostalgia? Can we actually go back to 80s filmmaking?
Yeah,
I'm really starting to miss it.
Nostalgia gland's getting sore. Can we get something a little more refreshing? Thank you. What I thought of The Room. Yeah, it was. There was a lot more sex scenes than I ever would have imagined in that film. Whenever people reference it, they don't talk about there's like 7 in the first half an hour.
Oh, they are the worst, but it's so funny because the better half was watching them, and she goes, I gotta say, I appreciated those scenes. They were so terrible. She posted on Twitter, and she goes, why is he moving like a fish?
Yeah, there were like planks just barely moving at all. And it's like, okay. And then they show like a cut of water, and then they like transition to a city real quick, and then they come back to the same room. And it's like, wait, what? Was that supposed to be time? They just came inside, and then they go, let's go get some fresh air. And they go back outside. It's like, wait, what? They have the kid next door who just wanders into their house and is like, I like to watch. What?
Me and her, I hadn't seen the movie for years again. Me and her rewatching it, and I forgot a lot of scenes. And when he comes in and says, I like to watch, me and Bitchy laughed so hard. And we're just sitting here going, when like she's having the affair, we're sitting here going, you do realize everyone just walks through your open door.
Yeah, no, that door is, my theory is that door is a portal to another realm, and they just come every time somebody comes through is from another realm from the door. Every time you see Danny, it's a different Danny. There's a scene where they're in tux for no reason, and then the next scene they're just not in tux anymore. It's like, wait, so is that done? Oh.
It's like hard cut, no context. We're just moving right along.
Yep.
Dude, the cuts in that is spectacular. I just got to say, the Room. After I watched Shark Exorcist, it made The Room seem like an Academy Award winner.
You need to see Santa Jaws.
Oh God. Brooke, don't do this to me, because now I'm gonna have people requesting going Santa Jaws, and then I'm gonna watch it and have to bang my head against the wall for an hour.
Or Dick Shark.
Oh, you know what? It doesn't surprise me. Nothing surprises me.
Can you guess the plot of Dick Shark?
I don't even want to hazard a guess the plot of that movie.
A man's erectile cream or whatever goes wrong and turns his dick into a shark and just checking it or something, and a lot of hootenanny of a time. I'm not joking. Look it up on IMDb.
Now, look, you can investigate this, but you still haven't seen the Rocky movies?
I have the DVDs. They're next. Okay, they're coming this week or next week. I'll watch them.
J-Div says the best Tommy Wiseau quote. Maybe the car is also a vampire.
Hell yeah.
Yes, Selena, we will be talking about Bat Nipples. Unfortunately, Warner Bros. Has got a monopoly on the Batman film, so the only way I can view this movie is to via HBO Max or buying it on Amazon. And I will tell you right now, I will never own,
Yeah.
never own George Clooney Batman ever. I
Oh,
will. That movie
it's
is
that
the
credit card.
epitome. When he pulls out a Batman credit card as a kid, I saw this, folks. I saw this movie in theaters. Could you imagine? I go with my little Batmobile, right? I'm super happy. I got my Batmobile. I got my Batman figure. Go in, getting ready for, a Michael Keaton-esque Batman, maybe a Val Kilmer type Batman, And I got, it's
You know that
going to be a cold day in hell.
that means that with the Batman credit card, there's a Batman bank and there's a Batman financial office and there's Batman loans, and that's a building somewhere in Gotham. Batman Bank.
Batman has his own bank. Okay, I just want to stop right here because Batwoman has been doing this too. There is such a thing as a secret identity. Okay,
No,
but they
not with the CW. Everybody learns their identity. Like at least 50 people know by the end of season 1 of
yeah,
their
it's like and I loved Arrow because Arrow at least made a playful jab. But I remember there was like one episode where Stephen Amell looks at everyone. He goes, "Does everyone know where the Arrow cave is?"
Yes.
Like he put out with 2 people knowing.
Well, no,
And
it's
by
funny
the
with that
way,
show because literally, like almost like I swear, like more than 50 people like just know where it is. And it's like, oh, okay, I think that's fine. I remember you. You're from another universe, whatever. By the way, just a random one, since there's movies you probably haven't seen that most people haven't seen. Deep in the Valley, starring Chris Pratt before he was famous, and it's about him and a buddy going to a porn booth to a porn universe, Bill and Ted style. And it's not like hardcore. It's like less hardcore than American Pie, but it's hilarious. And nobody's seen it. And there's like Sex and Death 101, where a guy gets emailed to his work or something a list of every woman he's had sex with and will have sex with, and it's 101 women on that list somehow, and it's a weird little comedy. Blood Angels, these vampire chicks called thralls, which it actually has 2 titles. It's called Thralls or Blood Angels. There's these sexy vampire chicks who are under the control of a vampire dude, and there's like the Necronomicon, and they escape and they run a nightclub, and then they have to try to unleash it, but then he wanted that, and then there's like a trainee that's outside wants to get in the club, but they don't let him in, and then this innocent chick, she gets jumped by people trying to get at her, and he's like, "You're toast, bitch," and it's just you haven't seen it. It's so ridiculous. But these are movies that I've seen that none of y'all have seen. I know.
Rookie, I'm going to send you a list of movies you should see because I feel like we need to we need to broaden your palette, buddy. I'm actually starting to feel bad for you because I'm like, oh my god. And don't worry, I've taken down a note of some of these movies you talked about.
Yes.
Hey Rob, what's up? Rob Rules is here. Good to see you. He wants to know if you have Subway cookies, Rookie.
I always dish them out because that's what we do, man. Serve them fresh, warm, mushy, gooey Subway chocolate chip cookies coming to you from Subway. Yeah, baby.
This stream was sponsored and brought to you in part by Subway sandwiches. Eat fresh.
Hell yeah. I made a little song one morning called Good Morning, Everybody. What are you gonna do? Get some Subway cookies. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, yeah. Money.
Shalita says, that's why I like Power Rangers of the 90s because no one knows their identities, even though you had Bulk and Skull trying to find them. Yes, that was a perfect example. the Power Rangers. They were like the only people who found out their identities were like by accident. Like Tommy made friends and then came out and he was the Green Ranger. So they were
Forcibly
like, "Oh, we
became
gotta
one on
do
it,
this."
and then learned their stuff. Well, he was told their identities by Rita, but yeah, that show did good. They actually tried to keep their identities secret. We never saw their parents, except for me. No, we saw them once or twice, I think. Dude, I'm a
Yeah,
Power Rangers
you
person. People in
really
the
had
chat,
to.
I'm a Power Ranger dude, people. So, that's
Oh
my
my
shit.
God, I did a review on the
And
Broken
so,
Grid, or what was it? The
Shatter,
Power
Shatter,
Rangers
Shatter Grid.
Shattered Grid. Shattered Grid. I did, dude. That trailer for that comic book, I thought it was a movie.
Oh,
That trailer,
the Jason David Frank, the 2-minute trailer for the comic. Yeah, great
that
time.
trailer. I said, why can't we have that as a new Power Rangers movie? I would pay. I would see that movie 20 times. The
Yeah,
quality they put into promoting that,
yeah.
I instantly went out and brought Shattered Grid.
Yeah,
I was
good. No, that is a great example of it. And JDF, he does so much fan type of stuff. He's another, like, he filmed the Power Ranger versus Scorpion and versus Ryu, or from Street Fighter. Like, that's a fan film little thing. He's done a couple other ones. He's in Ninjak versus the Valiant universe as Blood. What the fuck is his name? The guy that Vin Diesel played. I forget his name right now.
um,
Blood.
Bloodshot.
Bloodshot. Yeah, Bloodshot. And JDF does his own stunts, so he does a much better job as well doing it than Vin Diesel. But have you seen the Power Ranger fan film Unworthy?
Yes, yes, I
This year,
have.
the episode. Yeah, I talked to the guy who voices the Chrono Ranger on Instagram a few times. I want to have some of the cast on my channel at some point, but I don't want to bring them on while they're in the middle of while they're filming stuff. I want to have them on after they release it, so I can help push people toward the next episode as well. So I might be having some of their cast on my channel at some point, at least one. The others don't stream much, so they're still kind of popping their cherries in that area.
Yeah, this has just been a great conversation. Thank you everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. Go check out the Rookie Critic, his channel. The link is in the descriptions. If one of you beautiful mods can also drop Rookie Critic's link, let people know. Go check him out. It's been great having you, man. I gotta have you on a late night. That's a totally different experience. I had Loki when we started the pineapple hashtag, so I feel like, we can start hashtag Caucasian on that stream.
We need to have also pineapples versus tomatoes.
Oh God, yes, pineapples versus tomatoes. I think a lot of people would love that.
The epic battle that we never knew we wanted.
Yeah, no one knew we wanted pineapples versus tomatoes, but here we go. We have Amber Heard's pineapples versus Brie Larson's tomatoes. Who will win?
Oh yes. Who would be the sour apples?
Jane puts pineapples win.
You don't underestimate a tomato.
Oh yeah, those
sneaky little guys.
They're crafty. They're crafty. You've been trying to get rid of them for years now.
Well, now it's developed to where I'm not in the story really. It's more they're in their own little universe, and maybe at the end I might show up and go, "Hey, I could switch you." Okay. It's like,
oh my God, Rookie! We made the next Marvel Cinematic Universe. We just
it's the tomatoes and fruits.
It's the fruit universe. We can have
the fruitiverse. Yep.
You know what? I need to get Kevin.
Even though tomatoes more of a vegetable, right? I mean, it's the same thing, Yes.
Yeah, tomato.
Tomatoes in the trees, apples on the ground. It's all good,
Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to retweet this, hit that like button. I'm almost at a K, so tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell the dogs, have them subscribe. It's okay. They just have to hit with the little pause. the like button and come on when I stream. And spread the word because we're almost at 1,000. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who joined me tonight. Thank you, Mr. Rookie Critic, for coming on. This has been a great conversation, and we definitely got to do this again because it was a very fun chat.
It was a pleasure.
All right. And if you guys don't know, remember the only rule here in the Fandom Zone: kneel before Mr. Zod.
Kneel before Zod.
The darkness will fall, we never